Hey there, it's Nathalie, and I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to do the feather stitch, the herringbone, and the fishbone stitch. I called it the leaf stitch, but it's either or. And hey, be sure you give me a little thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Let's get started. This stitch is called a feather stitch, and so I've started at the middle. I've got these 3 lines, and I've got several dots marked off. And so what I'm going to do is come over to the right-hand side of that just a little bit, and go in, come up in the middle, on that middle line. And so this part is going to be straight, and this outer edge will be at an angle. The same thing over here. Go across and then tip that thread, that needle down into that middle section right there. Loop this thread underneath the needle. I've seen this used a lot on crazy quilts, the Victorian crazy quilts. So we'll come across right here. I've got a little mark right here. I'm going to come into that, go back to the center, come across, right across from where this stitch is, and come into that center right there. Alright, so I'll tie that off, and that's the feather stitch. This stitch in this crazy quilt is called a herringbone, and so I'm going to show you how to do the herringbone on these 2 lines here. And I use this really often. For years I did tailoring, hemmed men's suit pants, and this is my favorite stitch for doing a hem. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm just using 3 strands of floss right now, and just take a little stitch. Now you could do this as big as you want to. I'm just going to do a little stitch, and then I'm going to come down and do about the same size stitch that's up at the top. And scoot over a little bit. And so this thread is going to come over the top of this one, and we're not going to go underneath the needle any place. You want a little bit wider. I mean, and you can go wide if you want to. Like, let me go ahead and just do that for you and show you. It's almost like little teepees or something. Do a little bit wider. Get one more thread there. And then we'll just go down here, and then we'll turn it to the back and tie off. In going through my sack of already like ends and pieces of thread, I want to show you this because this is in some of the instructions also. This is pretty easy. You know, on the thread it said leave the papers on the little sleeves on the papers. But what this person has done is that they've taken it out because it's all in a round, you know, just round, 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 and they've cut it in half. So we've got this length of thread. It's pretty easy to work with. That's a nice size length to work with. So that's a 6-strand piece. Let me pull that out here. And we're going to do a leaf stitch next. This leaf stitch is like the fly stitch, but I'm going to start in the middle for the first stitch and come down the center about like that. And then on the left side, I'm going to come down just a little bit, but pretty close. And instead of coming right down into this center section right here, I'm going to come just a little bit beside and down. Now this one is going to be just a little bit beside. And on the right side, down just a tiny bit. Here's my center line. I'm going to go just a little bit to the left. You could do this satin stitch, but this is called a leaf stitch. It's really close, and then we're just going to go just a little below and to the side of that center line. Close, cross over, a little beside. I'm going to do 2 more of them, and then I will go off camera for a minute. All right, I'm at the end of my leaf video, my leaf stitch. This is where I ended up, and so I'm going to come back over here, and then we'll just shorten this. We'll start to come down into this a little bit. And these will be closer together at the bottom. Just bring that in a little bit. Just a tiny little crossover right there. And I think that I'm going to call that done and tie it off on the back. And it's really neat the way it looks on the back. Let me flip it over for you and show you with this gap down the middle. And so I'm going to tie off back here. And I mean, I could put, well, let me go ahead and do that. Let me just put just one little stitch. You don't have to. This is not really part of it. But we'll just put a little stitch there for the stem and tie it off. Thank you so much for watching today. Be sure you give me the thumbs up. Also, if you want to get the pattern for this, you can go to myhallcloset.com and go to the free good stuff. And you'll have to subscribe to my email, but I don't send hardly any emails, maybe every now and then. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.